I never thought my life would end up like this. When I first moved to Thailand, I was just a regular guy from England looking for adventure and a change of scenery. I had always been fascinated by the culture and beauty of the country, and I was eager to experience it all for myself. I arrived in Bangkok and immediately fell in love with the vibrant energy of the city. I spent my days exploring the temples and markets, and my nights soaking up the lively nightlife. It was during one of these nights out that I met Suki. Suki was a bar girl who worked at Nana Plaza, one of the busiest and most popular nightlife districts in Bangkok. She was beautiful, with long dark hair and big brown eyes that seemed to sparkle with mischief. I was immediately drawn to her, and we started talking. Over the next few weeks, Suki and I spent every moment we could together. We explored the city, tried new foods, and just enjoyed each other's company. It wasn't long before I realized that I was falling in love with her. I knew that Suki's job as a bar girl wasn't exactly conventional, and I was worried about what people back home would think. But I didn't care. I loved Suki, and I wanted to be with her no matter what. So I made the decision to buy her a house in Issan, a province in northeastern Thailand, and we got married. Things were great at first. Suki stopped working at the bar, and we settled into our new life together. We spent our days exploring the countryside, and our nights cuddled up on the couch, watching movies. I felt like the luckiest man in the world. But then, one day, Suki's brother showed up on our doorstep. He was a rough-looking man, and I didn't take to him right away, but Suki seemed happy to see him. She introduced us, and he shook my hand firmly, sizing me up with a look that made me feel uneasy. I didn't think much of it at the time, but it wasn't long before I found out the truth. Suki's brother was actually her husband, and he had come to reclaim his wife. I was heartbroken and devastated. I couldn't believe that Suki had lied to me and that I had been duped into buying her a house for someone else. I confronted Suki about it, and she broke down in tears, telling me that she had married this so-called brother when she was just a teenager in a desperate attempt to escape poverty. She had never loved him and had been trying to get a divorce, but he had threatened to harm her if she left him. I felt like a fool for not realizing the truth sooner. I had been so blinded by love that I hadn't seen the signs. But it was too late now. Suki's husband was determined to take her back, and there was nothing I could do to stop him. I was kicked out of the house and left with nothing. My heart was shattered, and I didn't know how to pick up the pieces. I had fallen in love with a woman who wasn't even mine, and now I was alone and penniless in a foreign country. I spent the next few weeks wandering the streets of Bangkok, trying to figure out what to do next. I couldn't bear the thought of living without Suki, but I knew that I couldn't force her to stay with me against her will. As the days passed, my despair only deepened. I couldn't eat or sleep, and I felt like I had lost everything that mattered to me. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I made the decision to end my own life. I didn't see any other way out. I hoped that wherever Suki was, she would understand my pain and know that I loved her with all my heart. As I sat on the edge of the bridge, preparing to jump, I heard a voice behind me. It was Suki. She had come to find me and begged me not to do it. She told me that she had never loved her brother and that he had always been abusive towards her. She had only married him in a desperate attempt to escape poverty, and she had been trying to get a divorce for years. But it wasn't until I came into her life that she had finally found the strength to leave him for good. She had realized that she loved me and wanted to be with me, and she had left her husband and her old life behind. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Suki had been telling the truth all along, and I had been too blinded by my own doubts to see it. I was filled with guilt and regret, but also with hope and love. Suki and I decided to start over and leave the past behind us. We moved to a new city and started a new life together. It wasn't easy at first, but we had each other, and that was all that mattered. Years passed, and we were happier than ever. Suki started a small business, and I found a job that I loved. We traveled the world and made countless memories. We were each other's everything, and we knew that we would never be separated again. I never thought my life would end up like this, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Suki was my soulmate, and I was hers. And as I sit down to write this letter, I can't help but feel grateful for the journey that brought us together.